Hello everyone, this is our Junior Certificate Mathematics lesson, and today we are looking at revision for this paper, which is paper 1. And remember, it's a multiple choice paper. You are expected to have with you a set of mathematical instruments, no calculator usage here. In this paper, we are going to be looking at some past exam questions. So let us have a look at them and then discuss them. Revision questions. The first question says, a cylindrical can has volume of 785 centimeters cubic. The cross-sectional area of the can is 78.5 centimeters squared. Calculate the height of the can. So here you are given the volume, you are also given the area of the cross-section. So you are expected to calculate the height. This is what you are expected to find, the height of the cylindrical can. And then how are we going to find the height of this cylindrical can? The volume is given as the area of cross-section, times the height or the length. In this case, it will be the height. And then what is the volume? We are given the volume here as 785. So we can simply substitute for V. So we'll have our V as 785. 785. It's equals to the area of the cross-section. And then what is the area of the cross-section? We are given the area of the cross-section as 78.5. So we'll substitute for the area of the cross-section. So we'll have 78.5 here times h, which is what we are expected to calculate. And then to find h here, we will divide both sides by 78.5. So divide here by 78.5. Divide here by 78.5. And then the 78.5 on this side will cancel the 78.5 here. And then you have h as 785 rather, divided by 78.5. And then how do you carry out an activity where you are dividing with a denominator with a decimal? This is the same as 7850 divided by 785. We are simply multiplying the top and the bottom by 10 so that we can divide by a whole number here. And then 785 into 785 is 1. 785 into 7,850, it's 1 here, and then a 0 here. So this is simply saying the value of h is equals to 10 centimeters. So the height is 10 centimeters because this area and the area of the cross-section and the volume was given in terms of centimeters. So the height is 10 centimeters. Go to the alternatives, circle the correct answer. So according to the alternatives that we are having, A is 157 centimeters, B 100 centimeters, C 15.7 centimeters, and then D is 10 centimeters, which is what we got. So we will circle D, which is, according to the calculation here we are having, is the correct answer. And then the next question, Keletso left school at 4:50 p.m. and arrived at home 40 minutes later. At what time did he arrive? So he left school at 4:50 p.m. and arrived at home 40 minutes later. Then you are expected to find the arrival time. To find the arrival time, we will simply add the 40 minutes to 4:50 p.m. and then get the time. So this will be 450 plus the 40 minutes. 0 plus 0 is 0, and then 5 plus 4 is 9, and then it's a 4 here. But we cannot have time where we are saying 4090. We need to convert this to time as we know it. So the 90 here means it's 90 minutes. So we'll have to take 1 hour from this 90 minutes and then add to the 4. 90 minutes, when we take 1 hour, 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So it means we are going to take 60 minutes from 90 minutes. And then we'll remain with the 30 minutes on this side. So what we're simply saying is we will have 5 here because of the 60 minutes. And then 90 minus 60 because we have to subtract the 60 minutes so that we cater for the hour there. So this will be 0, 3, 30. So this is simply saying we expect the answer to be 5:30. And then we need to check. We are told that Keletso left school at 4:50 p.m. So we expect the answer to be in p.m. there because it's just 40 minutes after 4:50 p.m. So we got 5:30 and then should be p.m. Not a.m. but p.m. So let us check the alternatives. 5:30 p.m. Do we have anything of that kind? A, 4:10 p.m. B, 5:30 p.m. And this is the answer that we got. This is the correct answer as per this question. And then what about the next question? Question number 3. The standing charge for electricity is 15 pula per month and the unit charge is 30 tebe per kilowatts. A customer uses 45 kilowatts of electricity in 1 month. Calculate the charge for the customer. So we are told that there is a standing charge of 15 pula per month and the unit charge is 30 tebe per kilowatts. And then it says a customer uses 45 kilowatts of electricity in a month. Then you are expected to calculate the charge. So this is what you are asked to find. The first thing, the 30 tebe there, you need to change this to the pula. Change the 30 tebe to the pula. And then when we change this 30 tebe to the pula, note that it will be 0.30. This is how you change the 30 tebe to the pula. Or you can just multiply using this 30 tebe. So in other words, you will have 45 times 30. And then what is 45 times 30? It's just 45 here and then a 30 here. This is 5. And then not a 5 here but a 0 because you are multiplying. And then 3 times 5 is 15, carry 1. And then 3 times 4 is 12. And then this is 13. This is 1,350 tebe. So we are to change these tebes to pulas because what we are having here is in terms of tebes. So let us change this to the pulas. When we change this to the pulas, it will be 13 pula 50. Not 3 pula but 13 pula 50. And then remember there is a standing charge. We are told about the standing charge, 15 pula per month. That's a standing charge. So we have to add the 15 pula to this 13 pula 50. So this will be plus the 15 pula. Plus the 15 pula. And then what is 13 pula 50 plus 15 pula? Is a 0 here, 5, and then 8, 2. So the answer is 28 pula 50. You now go to the alternatives and then circle the answer which corresponds to 28 pula 50. So this is the answer. We have to go for a short break, and then when we come, we'll continue with the revision. We are revising junior certificate mathematics lesson, rather mathematics paper. And then we are looking at paper 1, which is a multiple choice paper. We are at question number 4. And question number 4 says, solve the equation minus 3, open the brackets, x minus 6, close the bracket is equal to 6. So you have to solve for the variable x here. So to solve for this, you need to start by opening up the brackets. You have to make sure that you open up the brackets before you can solve for the variable x. And then how do you open the brackets in this question? Minus 3 times x, it's minus 3x. And then minus 3 times minus 6. The minus 3 outside the bracket is multiplying everything inside the bracket. So make sure that you multiply everything inside the bracket by the minus 3. Minus 3 times x is minus 3. Minus 3 times minus 6 is plus 18. because you are multiplying a negative number and a negative number. When you multiply a negative number and a negative number, you are going to get a positive. So minus 3 times minus 6 is positive 18. And this is giving us 6. Now we have minus 3x plus 18 is equals to 6. We therefore collect the like terms. Minus 3x is equals to, we have to take this 18 this side, and it's positive. When you take it to the other side of the equal sign, the 18 will become negative. So this will be minus 3x equals to 6 minus 18. Because the 18 is positive at this stage here, and then we have to take it to this side, it becomes negative. So we have minus 3x equals to 6 minus 18. And then this will be minus 3x is equals to 6 minus 18. It's negative 12. Here we have a situation where we are to subtract a bigger number from a smaller number. So what we do here, we disregard the signs, just subtract the larger number, rather subtract the smaller number from the larger number. Then after getting the numerical value, you put the sign for the bigger number. So here, the sign for the bigger number is negative because 18 is greater than 6. So we will subtract 6 from 18, get 12, and then put the sign for the bigger number. So what we have is minus 3x equals to minus 12. And then we can divide both sides by minus 3 because we are solving for the variable x. So divide by minus 3. This will be minus 3x divided by minus 3 is equals to minus 12 divided by minus 3. And then minus 3 cancels minus 3. We have x on this side is equals to minus 3 into minus 3 is 1. And then minus 3 into minus 12 is positive 4. We are dividing a negative number by a negative number. So we expect the answer here, x to be equals to 4. We check the alternatives and then circle the answer x equals to 4. A, x equals to minus 4. This is not the correct answer. B, x equals to negative 1 is not the correct answer. Then C equals to 1 is also not the correct answer. Then D, we have x equals to 4. This is the correct answer to the question given. So the value of x is 4. And then what about the next question? Question number 5. Calculate the area of the figure below in centimeters squared. So you are given the figure and then you are expected to calculate its area. This is a trapezium. Two ways of doing it. The first way, we know that the area of a trapezium is given as half top plus the bottom, close the bracket, times the height. This is one way of doing it. And remember, the top and the bottom has to be parallel. So for you to say this is the top and this is the top and the bottom needs to be parallel. But then we are given the angle here to be 90 degrees. This is also 90 degrees. And by having 90 degrees and 90 degrees here, this is simply saying 8 centimeters is parallel to 12 centimeters. So the area of this figure will be half. The top can be taken as 8 plus the bottom, which is 12, and then multiply this by the height. The height has to be perpendicular to the 12 here. So the height will be 6. Not 7, but 6, because the height has to be the shortest distance from the bottom to the top. So this will be the 6 centimeters. And then this will be half times 8 plus 12 is 20. So it's half times 20. Multiply this also by 6. So 2 here once, 2 into 20, 2 here once, here 0. So 2 into 20 is 10. And then we have 1 times 10 times 6. 1 times 10 times 6. And then what is 1 times 10 times 6? We have 60. We have the answer is 60. Now check. Do we have the answer 60? This is what we have. A is 72, B is 70, C is 60, D is 48. So the answer is C, which is 60. In this question, you could have as well decided to partition this into shapes where you will have the side from here going down here, and then you now have a rectangle measuring 8 centimeters by 6 centimeters. So you can calculate the area of this rectangle, 8 by 6. And then what is 8 times 6? It's 8 times 6. And then this will give us 48. And then what about the area of the rectangle? It's half times 4 times 6. And then what is half times 4 times 6? This gives us 12. So what we are simply saying is the area of this shape will be 48 plus 12. And then what is 48 plus 12? 48 plus 12 is 48 plus 12. This will give us 60. So these are the methods that we can use. You can see that we are still getting the same answer as the one that we used before. So the answer is still 60. It's either you choose the first method or you can choose the second method. You'll still get the same answer. And then what about the next question? It says the value of the puller to the value of the rand is in the ratio 1:1.20. What is 624 puller in rands? So we are to convert 624 puller into rands using the ratio 1:1.20. So this is the ratio that we are to use. It says 1 puller is equivalent to 1.20 rands. And then how are you going to convert? We'll simply say 1:1.20. And then these are the puller, these are the rands. 1:1.20. And then we are given the puller, meaning 624 is to x, where x are the rands that we are to find. So we can now find the value of x. And you can cross multiply. 1 times x is x. And then we will have x is equals to 1.20 times 624. And then multiply this and find out what you are going to get. 624 times 120. Just disregard the point at this point in time. You will actually cater for it when you arrive at the final answer. So when we multiply by the 0 here, it will be 0 here. And then 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 2 is 4. And then 2 times 6 is 12. And then we can now multiply by the 1 here. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. And then 1 times 6 is 6 here. And then we can add now. 0 plus 0 is 0. 8 plus 0 is 8. And then 4 plus 4 is 8. And then 2 plus 2 is 4. 1 plus 6 is 7. And then remember, when we are multiplying with a decimal number 1.20, meaning there should be 2 decimal numbers before the point, after the point rather. So the point is here. This will be 1, 2. So this is simply saying the answer is 748.80 because this is money. 748 rands 748 rands 80 cents. So not puller. This is supposed to be the rands. So the correct answer to this should be D, because these are not rands. Supposed to be the these are not the pullers, supposed to be the rands, because you are converting from the pullers to the rands. So it's supposed to be R, not P. This is how we convert money. All you need to do is to have the conversion factor. In this case, the conversion factor is 1:1.20. And then we expected to convert from the pullers to the rands. We expect the answer to be in rands. Let's go for a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with this exercise. We are revising Junior Certificate Mathematics, and today we are looking at paper 1, which is a multiple choice paper. And we are at question number 7. And then what does question number 7 says? It says a total of 1.8 times 10 to the power 4 blankets were shared equally between 2 charity organizations. And then the question says, how many blankets did each organization get? So these are shared equally between 2 charity organizations. So these are the numerical values that we are having. 1.8 times 10 to the power 4 and 2. So because we are saying they are sharing, it means it's 1.8 times 10 to the power 4. Divide this by 2 because it says there are 2 organizations sharing this. And then this will be 2 here once, 2 into 1 is a 0, into and then a point, into 18 is 9. So what we are having is 0.9 times 10 to the power 4. The question was given in standard form, but then is this in standard form? No. So we need to make sure that we convert this to standard form. 0.9 times 10 to the power 4 into standard form. Remember, when you change to standard form, there should be 1 digit before the point. So we have to change 0.9 times 10 to the power 4 into standard form. And then when we change into standard form, it means you have to move the point this side. So this will be 9 times 10 to the power negative 1 times 10 to the power 4. Why negative? It's because we are moving the point to the right now, so that the 0.9 can be a numerical value, not a decimal. So we have 9 times 10 to the power negative 1 times 10 to the power 4. And then the loss of indices says when the bases are the same, you add the powers. So this will be 9 times 10 to the power, because this is 10 to the power negative 1 and 10 to the power 4. So the 10 here and the 10 here, these are same bases. So we can add the powers because the law says when the bases are the same, you add the powers. So this will be 9 times 10 to the power negative 1 plus 4. And then what is 9 times 10 to the power negative 1 plus 4? This will be 9 times 10 to the power 3. So this is the answer. You now go and check your alternatives. Do you have the answer 9 times 10 to the power 3 among the alternatives we have? The first one is 9 times 10. This is not the correct answer. 1.8 times 10 to the power 2 is not correct. And then C is 9 times 10 to the power 3. And that's the correct answer to this question. So the answer is 9 times 10 to the power 3. That's how we work out this question. And then the next revision question says, the score of 7 people in an interview were 41, 45, 38, 43, 41, 41, and 39. Then it says calculate the lower quartile of the scores. So the question is expecting you to calculate the lower quartile of the scores. But before you can carry out the calculation, you need to check, are these numbers arranged in order of size, starting with the smallest? So you need to make sure that you arrange these numbers in order of size, starting with the smallest. So when we arrange this, we will get 38, 41, 41, and then another 41, and then we'll have the 43, 40, there has to be the 39 here. Okay, 43, 45. We have the 39 here. There should be 39 here. So this simply means this is supposed to be written as 38, 39, 41, 41, and then another 41, 43, and then 45. You can now check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do we have 7 numbers here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 of them. Now we have arranged these. We can now answer the question, which says we are to calculate the lower quartile. For us to find the lower quartile, we are going to start by finding where the median will lie. So there are 7 of these. 1, 2, 3. So it means the median will be at this point. So this will be the median. But then we are not looking for the median. We are looking for the lower quartile. So we'll consider the distribution from 38 up to this first 41, meaning the distribution now becomes 38, 39, and then 41. This is the distribution that we are having. And then from this distribution, we are going to locate the middle number. That will be the lower quartile for the distribution 38, 39, 41. And then the middle number here is the 39, meaning this is our Q1 or the lower quartile. We now go and check, do we have 39 as the lower quartile from the alternatives? We should have. Let's go and check. A is 43, that's not the answer. 42, B, C 40, and then the last alternative D is 39, and that is the correct answer as per this distribution. So that's how we find the lower quartile when given a distribution. This is all that I had for you today. But before we part, I need you to understand that it is very important that you read the instructions on the cover page, because that's where you are told what to do. It is very important that you read the instructions, then understand them before you can start attending questions. And then also, make sure that you practice this, especially in paper 1, because you are not allowed to use a calculator here. So it is important that you practice calculating without using a calculator. And that's all I had for you. Till we meet again in the next lesson. Goodbye.